Mama's in the living room watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she yells, "Oh, girl, you gotta hear this one." A man was arrested for running the theme park, and when they said, "Where's your license?" he said, "My dog ate it." Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on her Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one." Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, "You'll never guess what's true with their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up." Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one."
Welcome back to another episode of Squid's Crazy Life, and she just got home, showered, still sweating, and all my makeup is sitting right here. So bear with me. However, today we're talking MrBeast. He's being sued. And I know what you're going to say. He's been sued before. Well, this lawsuit just dropped on Wednesday, and there are some pretty serious allegations in it, including harassment and violations of FMLA. And just, if any of these allegations are true, holy crap. However, before the internet takes it, runs with it, and starts the conspiracy theories, we're going to do what we do best here and break down the document and compare it to the actual law. Because there is always a difference between what is morally and ethically wrong and what is legally wrong. And if that's your kind of content, this might be the channel for you. If you were easily offended or you hate that I take mama bear breaks, this is not the channel for you. But if it is, please hit that like and subscribe button. The QR code in the corner is the QR code for my second channel. That is the channel that is my heart, my soul, my passion, my degree, and my professional certifications, where I work one-on-one with people or a group and teach you how not to fall and how to age in place safely, because life sucks and getting older sucks. And here we are together. How's everybody doing today? Oh my goodness. It's a crazy day. Like, my hair is down, but I'm like sweating, my hot mess. Like, I got all my stuff right here. So if you see me doing makeup on camera, mind your business. Girls gotta do what a girl's gotta do. Heck, I opened this, but was in the middle of something and forgot to comment. Forgot to like number 5. I don't deserve single digits. How are you? Digger, nice. I'll try to catch the live, but if not, I'll definitely be a replay crew. Thanks for covering this. Digger, it's so good to see you. If you have not subscribed to Digger, Digger has a channel. She's awesome. Oh, I just never catch their lives because she's on the West Coast, and that's just an awkward time zone for me on a normal time frame. But, whatever. All right. Pop a squid in the chat. DR to most. Thank you. Yeah, this is one where it's like, y'all, I heard about this, looked it up, read part of it for myself, not read the entire complaint, but oh my God. Trigger warning on this one. There is workplace harassment allegations and pregnancy related allegations. So if that is a trigger for you, this might not be the lawsuit for you. However, if you are willing to grin and bear it with me, thanks for being here. MrBeast, everybody should know who MrBeast is. He is the largest, if not one of the largest creators on YouTube. One of the most valuable creators on YouTube. And he is being sued. So we are going to get straight into it because it is 26 pages. And for a initial complaint, 26 pages actually ain't that long. But Roy, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Just so she has to say Hugh Hathcock. Hath. He is a defendant that runs a Florida collective, or a collective for the University of Florida and the NIL staff. Have not covered that. That lawsuit is now sealed. Unhung Hero, thanks for being a member for 19 months. Holy Jesus. Excuse that. Speaking of Jesus, my cross made me bleed today. I forgot to take it off before the workout, and it stabbed me a bunch of times. So if you see me, like, adjusting, it's because it's a little tender right now. Roy, member for 19 months. I'm still here. And Unhung Hero, thanks for gifting 20 Squid Pro Club memberships. Awesome. If you got one of those memberships, thank Unhung Hero. And if you are new to being a member, we have members only Mondays where we are building a Timu Law School. Oh, Andrea, good to see you. Gail just popped over from Spawn. Oh, I heard Spawn had a good one. And I am continuing what Spawn worked on today. Spawn and I had previously discussed that topic multiple times, and I will get that video out sometime. Hey, Wisconsin, how are you? How is my home state? All right. Let's see. You think you can leave that easily? No, you're stuck with me. Snipe Hunter, how are you? This chapter of Squid's crazy life, or As the Ocean Turns. Yes. We are safe from fires. There's fires south and west of here. If you walk outside my house right now, you can definitely tell that there are fires. We have not had rain in like a month, which is not normal. Yesterday when I went to sleep, it was 27% humidity. That's not normal either. Southeast Georgia is not good with low humidity. So, July. Oh, Sarah, I'm sorry you haven't been getting notifications. YouTube doesn't like me some days. Hey, how are you? I'm good. Oh, and thanks for everybody bearing with me yesterday. I did go to the dentist yesterday. I did not have serious dental work. I just had a cleaning. However, it kicked my butt, and I got home and my face was hurting. So we were just having a day. French, good to see you. All right, we are going to get into this. Ninja Puppy, I remembered. Good to see you. Talent Truth commercials everywhere on YouTube. Yes, use the code SQUID to get 15% off. I'm addicted. It's the one thing I don't have at my desk right now, and I'm kind of like having withdrawals. But I did put it on my face prior to putting my serum on. So, am I going to have to water the roof? No. We are not. Yeah. I do have a story about going to the dentist, about them like from structure. I love my dentist. They're a married couple. Love them. They're Green Bay Packers fans in South Georgia. Like, you don't get that. However, I do have a story about when I showed up, but I will tell that on Nick Starrow's Slightly Buzzed show tonight at 5:00 Eastern. I will be on that show after this one. So I'm shiny. Yeah, because I'm sweating. And I haven't put my foundation on yet. So I use that. I'm an it girl. It is what it is. Shush. Yes. So if you see me just, Unhung Hero, thanks for the $5 super chat. Y'all are in a drought, and we've gotten tornado warnings every few days the last 6 weeks. Yes. In the last, I would say 20-ish years, my dad has lived in the house he lives in. I don't ever remember him telling me that he's ever gone in the basement because of a storm. In the last like 4 weeks, he's texted me multiple times saying I'm in the basement due to the storms. That's never happened. So I'm going to just throw this on real quick. Y'all bear with me. We are getting into this document right now. I apologize. Yeah, well, that's fine for y'all. It would be like if y'all got extra rain and all of a sudden you have flash floods because you can't handle it. We don't handle droughts very well. However, if this was California, we would be way worse than we are now, because we have good forestry management in Georgia. So we have excellent forestry management. So yes, we have fires, but it could be a lot worse. All right. So this is a complaint by Lorraine Mavromatis to MrBeast YouTube LLC and Game Changer 24/7 LLC. Not him personally, but 2 of his businesses, which is interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because when you don't clear underbrush, that becomes kindling. And when you have so many environmentalists that you can't clear and have good forestry management, just a little side story while I'm doing this. Your underbrush becomes kindling when you have a fire. And it's harder to put out when you have lots and lots of kindling because your environmentalists won't let you actually do forestry management. So when you actually do forestry management, it's good for the environment. It's safe for the population who lives there. So, it's you have to have a balance of good for people and good for the environment. You have to find a healthy balance. You can't have it one way or the other. You have to go right and skirt the line. And from what I've seen from Georgia and living here for 6 years, they do a pretty good job. They're not perfect by any means, but they they do all right. Hong here, thanks for the $2 super chat. In order for me to read something like that, it's got to be a 50 or above. I'm just saying. But shaving and waxing stuff is not. No. All right. She wants a jury trial demand, but against the defendants for willful violations of Family and Medical Leave Act, wrongful discharge of plaintiff in violation of North Carolina's public policy. Oh, this was filed in the Eastern District of North Carolina. So this is on PACER. This is a federal document, which is one of the reasons that it makes it so much fun. North Carolina Public Policy, General Statute 143-422.2, and intentional infliction of emotional distress under North Carolina common law. This intentional infliction is always hard to prove. So this should be there will be no mentioning of Mary Lincoln's or anything related to any of Mary Lincoln's multiple personalities on this channel. Thank you. Due to MrBeast's willful violations of the FMLA and intentional violations of North Carolina state law, plaintiff seeks lost wages, lost benefits, reinstatement, front pay in lieu of reinstatement, liquidated damages, compensatory damages, punitive damages, injunctive relief, pre- and post-judgment interest, and attorney's fees. Oy vey. Ugh. Relevant times or relevant period includes any time during the period of plaintiff's employment from August 22nd of 2022 until November 6th of 2025. Intro. This is an interesting way of writing a complaint. It's a boys' world at Beast Industries. Well, no offense, but if you've watched any of his videos, duh. Hey, Amos girl. James Donaldson, aka MrBeast, hereafter Donaldson or Jimmy, is a social media influencer widely popular with males in the 14 to 24-year-old age group, who founded the media productions company MrBeast YouTube and Game Changer LLC, which employed plaintiff, as well as other related businesses, including Beast Games, MrBeast Burger, Lunch Leaf, Beastables, Step, and ViewStats. I didn't realize ViewStats was a Beast company, but okay. Hey, good for him. Just got my YouTube Squid is Alive announcement. I love when that happens. And that's kind of why I like to go consistently on 2:30 to 3-ish on consistent days, because I know notifications suck. So if I'm consistent, YouTube may be more consistent with pushing notifications. And also, if you don't get a notification, you at least know, hey, Squid usually goes live at this time. Maybe she's live, you know? Hey, all, who's MrBeast? I'm out of touch. MrBeast is a creator for younger guys. I have not actually watched anything MrBeast related since he did like a, not a parody, but like a Squid Game kind of, not this Squid, but the Netflix show. He kind of did like a Squid Games video, and it was really kind of awesome and funny. I'm surprised he didn't get sued for that. However, he does things like, I don't know everything he does, but think of like the old radio game, when he'd win prizes, like keep your hand on this car long enough, and if you're the last person touching the car, you win the car. He does things along the same lines as that. So he's a tool with a tool. Yeah, he does stuff like, stay in this circle long enough and you win money, or so it's a thing. Oh, the Squid Game. I have no words. It was a really good show, at least season 1. It just, yeah. However, he's a very rich tool. Yes, he is. For a while, I don't know if he still is. I have not looked or paid attention to the numbers, but he was the #1 money-making creator on YouTube worldwide. While Donaldson is now involved in a variety of businesses, from tech apps to restaurants, he gained fame by producing high-budget, elaborate challenges and stunts like giving away islands and millions of dollars in prize money. Donaldson got his start by posting videos of himself playing video games on YouTube at the age of 13 under the handle MrBeast6000, which gained a cult-like YouTube fan base, as his MrBeast6000 persona rapidly grew to tens of thousands. In 2016, Donaldson dropped out of college at the age of 18 to grow MrBeast full-time. He hired 4 childhood friends to work on productions, and his mother, Susan Perisher, to handle MrBeast administrative matters. That will be relevant later. Over the last decade, MrBeast and related entities have expanded exponentially. Its YouTube presence grew from 30,000 subscribers to over 450 million. So think about people with like trying to get 1 million or trying to get 100,000, and how many people are trying to get 100,000. He has 450 million. Expansion of businesses, including online shops, apps, brick and mortar stores, production of multi-series streaming broadcasts, and acquisition of elite business partnerships, showcased in primetime Super Bowl ads and the Oscars. Together, MrBeast employs over 500 people. Notwithstanding immense changes seen outwardly by the public, from home-filled YouTube videos to today's media empire, internally, MrBeast is operated like a startup. Yeah, MrBeast is a billionaire. Yeah, but speaking of billionaires, what I am not, there's this. Thanks, Heidel, for being the supermod. Yeah, bet YouTube won't demonetize his channel. You know how much money they would lose? To my YouTube overlords who might be watching, I am not a bot. I am not a bot. Obviously, But I do value my channel, so please do not demonetize it, especially for talking about MrBeast. Because these are only allegations at the end of the day, and this complaint dropped 2 days ago, so his response obviously is not in yet. We will cover his response when it is filed, which will probably not be for a couple months, because he's not even served yet. We are on top of this from the very beginning. Upon information and belief during plaintiff's employment, he did not have an employee handbook with standard employment policies and practices. See, and this is just me from like a one-woman show. But if you have more than like your friends working for you, the minute you hire somebody who is not a friend, or a 1099 employee, the minute you hire a W-2 employee, you should have an employee handbook. Just a thought. Just a thought. It's that cover your butt kind of situation. Instead, MrBeast distributed a handbook to employees titled How to Succeed in MrBeast Production. That included sections such as it's okay for the boys to be childish, and states if talent wants to draw a man sausage, don't tell Spawn I stole his word, on the whiteboard in the video or do something stupid, let them. The handbook states, do everything you can to empower the boys while filming. MrBeast directs employees to go to great lengths to get the results, that there are no excuses to not getting the job done. The handbook tells employees, no does not mean no. Oh, I can't wait to read that footnote. The amount of hours you work is irrelevant, not according to the government. Just saying. MrBeast's failure to implement standard employment guidelines and policies as its number of followers, profits, and employees soared resulted in plaintiff, as well as other female employees, to suffer from violations of the most basic employment laws. Plaintiff was hired by MrBeast in August of 2022. Okay, I understand the initial where this is coming from. Me and other female employees suffered. Understandable. However, the first page of this complaint says when his YouTube channel started and what his channel is geared towards. Males age 14 to 24. I'm not trying to say that she's in the wrong. These are only allegations. However, when you work for a company that is geared towards males age 14 to 24, to me, that comes with a certain level of, do you know what I mean? Like, I am not trying to make any excuses for people, but when you work for a male who is only, I think he's 27 now. When you work for a mid-20s male who has a channel geared towards teenage and adolescent, teenage, and young adult men, what did you think was going to be? This is where I'm like coming from. Like, I don't know. Every job I've taken has been for major companies. However, I've done my research on those companies, environment, work status, employee numbers, HR, policies, things like that. I can't imagine that you would not understand some level of asshattery. And unfortunately, being an asshole is not illegal. Being a misogynist, not illegal. Maybe unethical. But remember, there is that difference between what is morally and ethically wrong and what is legally wrong. And I would just look at a company like this, and even though Mr. Beast is a billionaire, probably pays well, I don't know if I could tolerate working for a company that is geared towards young men. I just seen what his videos have been about. It looks fun if I was a teenager, but I'm 40. Not my cup of tea. I don't know if I'd want to work for a company where that I know the environment. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just one of those, like, by 2022 you should know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Oh, and there's a coffee. Oh my goodness. And Ninja Puppy, thank you for the $10 coffee. I do really, really appreciate you. You have no idea. And hey, Ozark Teller. See, we are important. We have a coffee, but try it out. Yeah, it actually works. Figure that one out. And Ninja Puppy, thanks for being a member for 10 months. Woohoo! Almost a year. Uh, yeah. It, it's I just can't. And this is where it's like, you not saying that they didn't do anything legally wrong. We haven't got into that part yet. However, you just, and the Kofi says, Gail told me to give you this for your Pacer bill. Thank you. It's the Pacer bill comes out at the beginning of next month, I think May 2nd. So it is what it is. Here we go. Plaintiff was a rising star, promoted twice within her first year of employment, but after complaining about workplace that suffered from a lack of basic employment protections in November of 2023, she was subjected to multiple adverse employment actions, including a negative transfer, demotion, and termination. All right. Oh, how to succeed in MrBeast production, YouTube, the real MrBeast leaked document. Ooh, we will watch that at another time. We will. And okay, so she's got these these are different paragraphs. Yeah, smexy time harassment's kind of frowned upon. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. Oh my goodness. During her employment, plaintiff experienced and observed other female employees subjected to smexy time harassment that was both condoned and or perpetuated by their supervisors. For example, company's former CEO, James Warren, both subjected plaintiff to, I can only say it so many times before YouTube decides to not monetize my channel anymore or this video. And I love you guys, but girls gotta pay the bills, you know? Making her meet him in his home for a one-on-one meetings while commenting on the way she looked in her clothes. This first part, if that was common with everybody, totally can see. People have conference rooms in their houses all the time, whatever. However, this part, then also, and this is 2020. This is the 2020s. It's not 2000 where you can say, "Oh, you look nice today," and people don't take that the wrong way. I'm not insinuating that that's what was said. However, you can take something that could be an innocent comment, and there are people in this world that will take your innocent comment of, "Oh, I like that dress," or, "Oh, I like your hair today," and will twist it to girl has to shop with real cash. Nutella is it is really expensive. It's like $10 a container. Huh. And dismissed her complaint about a male client's unwelcome advances towards her as nothing, telling her that she should be honored that the client was hitting on her. Ooh. I can't wait to see the response to this. When she asked why Donaldson would not work with her on certain projects, Warren told her she's a beautiful woman and her appearance has a certain effect on Jimmy. Be honest, do women dress up for men, other women, or themselves? Mostly the latter two. Like, yeah. Plaintiff was treated differently than her male counterpart. Plaintiff was told to leave an otherwise all-male meeting by Donaldson. She was told by a male colleague to shut up or stop talking when she voiced her opinion at a staff meeting with employees she supervised. Donaldson said he would only participate in her video shoot if she brought him a beer, and task meant to demean her as she rushed around the production site in search of a beer in front of the production team. When it was known Donaldson didn't really drink, and he indeed did not drink the beer. Hey, here and after, this is going to be an interesting case. Yeah, I think. But it's one of them situations where it's like, dude, where is your, like, you are rich enough to have lots of lawyers. Why don't you have a lawyer draft up a policy handbook if these claims are true? Take them on the face. They're only alleged, but if we're taking them at face value that they're true, why with 500 employees don't you have like an actual, you can have your joking handbook, your how to succeed here, but have an actual like legal binding contract document. Like, new tip from Ninja Puppy. What? And thank you, Ninja Puppy, for the $5. It even tells me now. Oh my goodness. Y'all are amazing. I really don't know what to do with, like, y'all crazy. Go buy yourself the small jar of Nutella for little squid. I will. Thank you so much. Beast met his now wife in late 2022, married in 2024. Woman's court. That one I'm not really sure of, because we'll get to a certain part where she's taken too. So I don't think it was that. She was an executive. Executives' demeaning treatment towards women was publicly displayed at MrBeast headquarters when male executives laughed and made jokes at the office about female contestants of Beast Games who complained they did not have access to feminine hygiene products and clean underwear while participating in the show. When plaintiff complained about the harassment and told about the hostile environment she and other women were experiencing to MrBeast's head of human resources, who at the time was Perisher, also known as MrBeast's mom, which is just weird to me. It's streamer suing season. There's also the Mischief versus Asmongold and OTK, and the media company might get spicy when it heats up. I heard about Asmongold's, was it his Twitch channel being demonetized or shut down? Like, hey, Cumulus Vapes. Yeah, I think, I don't know. Plaintiff was told that her claims were unsubstantiated, and she was promptly demoted and transferred to an obscure role known by employees as the division where careers go to die. Every company has one. Hey! MrBeast terminated plaintiff less than 3 weeks after she returned from FMLA and pregnancy-related leave, telling her that she was too high caliber for the role she was demoted to, after formally complaining about Smexy-Tom harassment and the hostile work environment. On or near the date of plaintiff's termination, MrBeast posted a job opening for a social media content manager. MrBeast did not offer plaintiff this social media content manager role or even an opportunity to apply for the position. Instead, MrBeast offered her a severance agreement with a release of all employment claims and strict confidentiality. Well, if this is true, there goes your confidentiality. Human Resources and her manager said if she signed the severance agreement, they would give her an additional month of health insurance that covered herself and baby. That just sounds like, on its face, the way it's written, That just sounds like they're trying to get you to sign this and use your baby against you. It's another one of those freaking instances of using a child as leverage. Just just sucks. Ugh. After Heard and Lively, people are skeptical about claims like this. Yes, I did start reading the Lively complaint and stuff, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't. But it's the FMLA stuff that is interesting because all the other smexy time harassment stuff and the demotion and unlawful termination and anything like that is one thing. But is the FMLA, that's federal law. That's a very interesting one. And if all other things are false and even that is true, this complaint has a leg to stand on. Taking everything else out of the equation, the fact that there's FMLA in here makes it very, very interesting. It's just, it's. Hold on one second. I have to return a message. All right. Hey, Taz. And hey, Ronnie. Whoop. Sorry, I'm waiting on someone to message me back for something, and they are, and I just have to make sure I can see when they message me back without getting that thing in the corner of my. Hey, K-Bird, how are you? Agree on the FMLA issue. It has the strongest chance. Yeah, everything else could be he said, she said, but the FMLA, that needs to be documented. Like, that needs to be documented. And thanks, Ninja Puppy, for the another $5 from Kofi. Let's see. Camo. Ah. Why I'm still getting used to how to like use this and actually like, you know. Ninja Puppy's Kofi says, Gail, I better make my squid tax now as I will be on vacation for 2 weeks going on another cruise. Will you have fun on that cruise? It's very much appreciated. Still getting used to like how to see this. And Taz, thank you for the 5 gifted Squid Purple Club memberships. I appreciate you so very much. I better not end up on this platform because I will call it as it is. Money does not give you power over others. NDA, she may get an issue with that if she signed the NDA at the entry. I don't, maybe. I don't know. It's just weird. Because not all behavior is illegal. It's just one of those like, do you know what I mean? Like, just being an asshole and having misogynistic behaviors is not illegal. Is it a crappy person? Is it a sign of an asshole? Yes. Yeah. You know. Yeah. And hey, Rebranded Story. Thanks for the gifted 5 Squid Program memberships. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. She wasn't denied FMLA leave based on what you've read. She was moved to a different position due to company's investigation into the harassment claims, I thought, after she returned from FMLA leave. No, that was before she went on FMLA. And we were only on page 4 of 24. So we got stuff. Squid, I want a promotion and out of this basement. Well, you know. All right. Ugh. So she was demoted, transferred. Mr. Beast terminated her less than 3 weeks after she returned from FMLA and pregnancy-related leave. Honored the date of her termination, she posted a job opening for a social media content manager. Human Resources and her manager said if she signed severance, that it would give her an extra month of health insurance. Mr. Beast filled the social media content manager with a male in early 2026. Mr. Beast's lawyers recommended Mr. Beast implement standard employment practices in a letter dated November 1st, 2024. Notwithstanding, Mr. Beast never sent plaintiff information about her FMLA rights when she informed her managing supervisor in early 2025 that she would need to take maternity leave. Nor did Mr. Beast's managers or HR seem aware that requiring plaintiff to work during her FMLA qualifying leave in 2025 was a violation of the law. That's the kicker. I think she's upset about a lot. I think she was just making a point that there was an issue with women in the company, and that when they fired her, they hired a man in her place. I think. And thank you for the extra $5 Ko-fi. Ninja Puppy, practice makes perfect. Appreciate you. So, in addition, Mr. Beast apparently saw no problem with firing plaintiff, a female employee with no performance issues who had successfully performed roles at Mr. Beast within a few weeks of her return from maternity leave and replacing her with a man. All right, footnote. See Mr. Beast at this post on Mr. Beast's social media account, letter authored by Mr. Beast's lawyer to board of directors following investigation into allegations that included smexy time misconduct. See also New York Post, Mr. Beast's internal investigation finds no evidence of grooming, but frat boy locker room behavior discovery leads to firings. So jurisdiction. Court has jurisdiction over plaintiff's claims under Federal or Family and Medical Leave Act, 29 U.S. Code 2601, because the claims arise under laws of the U.S. All right. So, we don't care about venue and jurisdiction as long as the judge says it's good to go. I trust that it will be good to go. Yeah, it will be interesting to see the defense's response. Plaintiff timely filed a charge of discrimination with the EEOC December 29th of 2025. Within 180 days of the last discriminatory act, termination on November 6th, alleging discrimination on the basis of sex, pregnancy, and retaliation and violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. EEOC has not yet issued a notice of right to sue to plaintiff, and thus plaintiff's Title VII claims are not included in this complaint. However, plaintiff will seek to amend the complaint to add her Title VII discrimination claims as soon as practicable after the EEOC's notice of right to sue is issued. Interesting. Plaintiff's claims under FMLA and North Carolina state law do not require exhaustion of administrative remedies. We don't, the parties, we already know she's a female. Mr. Beast is LLCs. She's not suing him as an individual. During relevant times, Mr. Beast is employer within the meaning of the Family and Medical Leave Act and the North Carolina Equal Employment Practices Act. So is Game Changer. Here's the thing. For FMLA, you have to be a company over the size of 13 or 15 employees. I have to look on this computer because when I was doing my research last night, I was on my laptop. And I have the information up on my laptop. So I have to actually just look at it. I did not save it as a PDF, but I do have the entire Title 29 Subtitle B, Chapter 5, Subchapter C, Part 825, which is FMLA. This I think the entire complaint is going to rest on the FMLA. The other stuff, to me, unless she has hard evidence, is FMLA applies to private sector employers with 50 or more. I thought it was less than that now, as of 2026, because they updated it. But it is still 50. Within 75 miles of where they work, and only in the US. So if a company has 100 employees, but 75 of them are outside the US, they don't count. So North Carolina is a right to work state. They can fire her for just not liking her. Yeah, that's no. MrBeast and Game Changer operate as a single integrated enterprise and joint employers with respect to plaintiff's employment. Game Changer operates the merchandise division of MrBeast, while MrBeast YouTube operates the video production divisions. Despite plaintiff's transfer to Game Changer merchandise operations in January 2024, MrBeast YouTube continued to maintain plaintiff on its payroll, issue her paychecks, and provide her employee benefits throughout the remainder of her employment until her termination. That's the issue, because technically speaking, no, you have to be, your position has to be maintained, or you have to have an equivalent position. So even if, say, somebody was outperforming her in that same job, they have to give her an equivalent position, either higher or the same, when she comes back. Federal court in the Eastern District of North Carolina. So, was she demoted but still allowed to take FMLA before any other company action? Yes, she was demoted first in 2024. And then in 2025 is when she needed to take, whoa, why is this, what is happening? This keeps getting bigger, so I can't see my entire screen on its own. Weird. So she was demoted in 2024, moved to the merchandising operations where she worked from home. Didn't ever have to go into the office. But then she had to take maternity leave in 2025. She returned in October of 2025 and was fired November 6th. There's the quick timeline. The way this is written just makes it confusing. They maintained her position until she came back and then fired her. Yeah, it's weird. This is where the law, an FMLA law, which is long, will be I don't think she was demoted because of her work, because she was promoted lots of times. It's when she complained to HR about the hostile work environment that she was demoted. It's not necessarily, correlation doesn't equal causation, but she's trying to make that inference that those two were related. It's, we should just see. Yeah, it is just interesting, though, of how that lines up with the FMLA law. I get that it's a right to work state. However, it's just how that lines up with the law, and I have to read the entire law because it is very long. Yes, and I get what you're saying because I know that, but it's when you get back. Like, they have to keep your job for the 12 weeks you're gone. But I think what the people who are like, it's a right to work state in the chat are trying to the point they're trying to make is they keep your job back or job for the 12 weeks you're gone. You can come back on day 1 and they can fire you because it's a right to work state. So they technically kept your job for those 12 weeks. You come back, then they fire you. I think that's not right. I think that's against the law according to the Family Medical Leave Act from what I read, but I have to find the exact portion where that was located because I think that right there is the issue. So I get it. I get it. I do. However, taking this, these are only allegations, but we have to take them at face value from the front, from the beginning. In order to be completely non-biased, we have to take them at face value. I don't ever think this will get to discovery. I just have a feeling. However, it is interesting that the one thing that makes this plausible is watching his content. And if you watch his content, this is plausible. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying if you've watched more than one MrBeast video, this is plausible. Just saying. Like, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's true because we still have to there's always 3 sides to a story. Their side, his side, her side, and the truth. However, I have watched enough MrBeast videos in my life to know that this may be plausible. Just a thought. Just a thought. Just, At all relevant times, defendants maintained operations in Greenville, North Carolina. They've had more than 50 employees, 75 miles of plaintiff's work site. That's what I'm thinking. You're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. And I know, like, I don't push products very often, but like that is one where I am truly like addicted to it. I cannot tell you how addicted to that I am. I use it all the time. And that in the statement that they put out, which we are not there yet, they claimed that it was a company restructuring. That is what they put in the statement that they gave to Law and Crime. So, yeah, it's a, yeah. All right. Factual allegations. Plaintiff was hired in August of 2022 as head of Instagram. As head of Instagram, plaintiff was paid an annual salary of $100,000 for being head of Instagram. I will be our head of Instagram. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine getting paid a salary of $100,000 for doing nothing but making Instagram content? There's people who do that shit for free. In approximately June 2023, plaintiff promoted to head of creative, and her annual salary was increased to $120,000. Shortly after, plaintiff was promoted again. Her salary increased to $250,000. Holy goodness. Between June 2023 and January 2024, plaintiff oversaw operations for MrBeast's vertical divisions, guiding projects from initial concept to completion. She managed a team of approximately 20 employees and a monthly budget of roughly $500,000. During her tenure with Verticals executed highly successful social media campaigns and content generating millions of views and substantial revenue for MrBeast. Well, when you have that many people and you have food and various outlets, because he has MrBeast Burger and stuff like that, you need actual people. You need actual people. It's okay for the boys to be childish. While plaintiff approached her work in a professional manner, her professionalism was met with boys' club environment at MrBeast, where policies included it's okay for the boys to be childish, and it's okay for the boys to draw on the whiteboard in this male-centric workplace. I was military. I worked in a male-centric workplace, and even they didn't. Well, never mind. Never mind. We're just not going to go there. Plaintiff was one of the few women in a high-level role, was excluded from otherwise all-male meetings, demeaned in front of colleagues, harassed, and suffered from males being given preferential treatment in employment decisions. I really hope you have evidence, because words are one thing, but we need receipts. Receipts. During her employment, plaintiff, along with other female employees, complained about unwelcome and uncomfortable treatment from males that was ignored by their supervisors. I really hope you didn't just go to HR. I really hope you emailed, because receipts would be great. Example, plaintiff and other female employees complained to their male supervisor about a producer's unwelcome comments about their appearance and close touching. However, the supervisor repeatedly ignored their complaints. Plaintiff also complained that when a wealthy male client who Warren required her to mentor made romantic overtures towards her, she was uncomfortable, and with colleagues had begun falsely claiming plaintiff was involved with the client. Plaintiff asked Warren to intervene with the client so a professional relationship could be maintained. However, Warren dismissed her concerns, denied her request to intervene, and said she should be honored that a billionaire was hitting on her. But if any of this is true, this is not a good look. It became clear to plaintiff that inappropriate comments were acceptable and that complaining could adversely affect her employment. For example, Warren held one-on-one work meetings with plaintiff at his home in an upstairs dimly lit room instead of the corporate office that was located minutes from his home. During these meetings, Warren himself made inappropriate comments about plaintiff's appearance. On one occasion, plaintiff asked a female colleague to go with her to Warren's home office meeting because she felt uncomfortable with the intimate setting of these meetings. But plaintiff also began to question her own judgment after her complaints were dismissed, and she was told by male executives that she was overreacting. That's the long-winded way of saying that she was allegedly being gaslit. The plot thickens. Yes. And thanks, JKD Book. That is my second channel, and the link to my second channel is right there. Appreciate it. Also, plaintiff asked Warren why Jimmy would not meet her. Warren told plaintiff Jimmy gets really awkward around beautiful women. Let's just say that when you're around plaintiff and he goes to the restroom, he's not actually using the restroom. Yeah. And I know MrBeast does have, I think, Crohn's. So, like, him going to the restroom quite frequently would not be an unusual thing. And so whether this is actually true or not, there's two facets to this that, in my opinion, could be true or could be not true or taken out of context. Like, he goes to the restroom a lot, and the other dude could be making a joke about the fact that he goes to the restroom a lot because of his Crohn's. I think it's Crohn's. Don't quote me. It's either Crohn's, it's some GI issue that he's very open about. It's not a secret. But making a joke about it because it's a guys club, and I'm sorry, I was military. I was the only girl in my division with 40-ish men for a good 6 months. The boys be boys. Let's and you got to have a thick skin. The boys will be boys, and the boys will talk like boys. And that might have just been a locker room talk comment. And yes, immoral, unethical, whatever, but could be seen as harassment. I wouldn't personally take it like that, but that's just me because I've dealt with men my entire life, and I'd probably make a comment back because that's my smart ass level. You can take that one with how you will, but following Warren's comment, plaintiff began wearing baggy clothes and baseball caps so her looks would not potentially negatively impact her employment, which means she believed that comment if he had said it. Because that's the other thing. Did he actually say that? He could have said it as a joke, or he could have not said it at all. Plaintiff was demeaned in other ways while working at MrBeast because of her sex. She was told to leave otherwise all-male meetings with Donaldson. She was asked by Donaldson to fetch a beer before he would do a video shoot. Jimmy took one swing and taught swig. If you're going to be a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, but like this is where proofreading, not just spell check, comes in handy. That's a swig. Get rid of the N. And tossed it to the ground. She was told by a male colleague to shut up and stop talking when she raised a question. This was before she was pregnant. Plaintiff discussed continuous hostile and sometimes violent behavior exhibited by a male colleague to Warren. Warren told plaintiff he thought she was stronger. Another executive with whom plaintiff discussed this matter, which he described to him as toxic, said to plaintiff, "This is just how leaders talk at MrBeast." The executive further said, "What can't happen is you going to your uppers to complain. That's toxic. My team did that. They're gone." Plaintiff wrote this statement on a note card so she could remind herself what could happen if she complained and appeared weak. The formal complaint she didn't get pregnant until 2025. So this was 2023 or 2022, 2023. In November of 2023, plaintiff made a formal complaint detailing the inappropriate encounters and harassment and demeaning and hostile work environment she and other females had been living and experiencing working at MrBeast to Perisher, his mom, who served as head of HR at the time. Eesh. In November of 2023, MrBeast did not have a method or process for employees to report sensitive matters like harassment or discrimination anonymously or to a third party. This is also weird to me in a company that has near 500 employees at the time. It's just a weird situation. Like you don't have all these things set up. Like you didn't have lawyers that said, "Hey, you might want to implement some HR policies." To me, that's something's off. Like either she's not telling the whole story or he's a complete and total dumbass and so are his lawyers. Because that to me seems like you'd want an HR to handle something if you have more than like 50 employees. Hey, Peachy. And hey, Steven. November of 2023. Yeah. Thus, plaintiff had to tell Perisher of the harassing, inappropriate, and demeaning treatment she had suffered, including acts by her nephew Warren and son Donaldson. Yes, because the CEO and the owner were related, as well as the head of HR. Perisher informed plaintiff that her complaint would be thoroughly investigated and that she would take care of the matter. Retaliatory demotion and transfer matter was taken care of January 23rd, 2024, when plaintiff was demoted and transferred to social media manager for MrBeast merchandise division. After MrBeast's investigation found plaintiff's claims unsubstantiated. Transfer from COO for verticals to social media manager of merchandise was an employment action taken approximately 2 months after her complaints to Perisher and was effectuated or delivered on the same day plaintiff was informed of the results. See, that whether they are related or not, sometimes the looks of things, just when something looks bad, so they probably should have not done those two actions on the same day. Just a thought. Well, and that's the thing. They don't that's right now they don't have to put specifics. And that's what sucks about they don't have to give their entire hand. But at the same time, there's been too many of these initial complaints that are just so vague that it's like you aren't actually if they removed her from the workplace due to her complaints and did not investigate, that is against wage and hour laws. That's the thing. There's something that's not adding up. There's just no matter what side of this you fall on right now, whether you are so with her on this or you are like she's lying, she's full of it, she wanted special treatment, whatever you think, something is not adding up. So yeah, it's just weird. Plaintiff's transfer to social media manager for merchandise was done in response to plaintiff's complaints. Plaintiff's role as CEO for verticals from June 2023 to January 24 was an executive level position. Plaintiff supervised approximately 20 employees in that role. Plaintiff regularly interacted with executives and producers, directly reported to the CEO, and had a private office at its headquarters. As social media manager, plaintiff seldomly interacted with executives and supervised no employees. In this role, plaintiff worked remotely from her home, even though she lived minutes from the corporate headquarters, because she was provided with no office. Well, that word there, I like this. I would not complain about. You have a work from home job, like, Yeah, we saw what happens when you not show all your cards. Yeah, and there's a fine line from what I've been learning. There is a fine line between you don't have to and you shouldn't, because more and more judges, from what we've seen, are requiring more hard evidence from the very beginning. And I would assume it's to avoid a shit show later on. But that's just my personal opinion. Like I said, not a lawyer. So this is just me learning as I go and using my common sense and logic to learn about our legal system. Because you'd be surprised at how many people in this world have absolutely no idea how our legal system actually works. I work from home, still have my office at the studio. Same thing with my dad when he worked. He worked from home some days and still had an office to go to. So, plaintiff went from her verticals position, developing and directing creative initiatives, managing a team of employees, responsible for a production budget of approximately $500,000 per month, with a private office, to an isolated middle manager position in the struggling and unpopular merchandise division with no direct reports and a minimal budget. Pregnancy and FMLA. Plaintiff was working as social media manager for merchandise when she informed her supervisor in January 2025 that she was pregnant and would need to take leave for the birth of her child. Plaintiff was concerned about how MrBeast would take the news of her pregnancy due to their prior treatment of her and its handling of issues specific to women. Hey, Florida Flipper. Plaintiff was unaware of any other MrBeast employee taking maternity leave prior to her request, and upon information and belief, plaintiff was the first female employee of MrBeast to ask for maternity leave benefits. MrBeast did not have standard practice of providing information to employees about their FMLA rights when plaintiff informed MrBeast of her need for leave in January 2025. After informing her managing supervisor of her need for leave, MrBeast failed to give plaintiff written notice of her rights and responsibilities under FMLA as required by 29 CFR 825.3, nor did MrBeast require plaintiff notice of her eligibility under FMLA or designation as required by 29 CFR 825B through D. And this is where it gets interesting to me, because this, to me, is the only part that I believe in this initial complaint holds water. If the EEOC comes back with a right to sue, that's a thing. I have not, like I said, this lawsuit is 2 days old. This was filed on the 22nd. I found out about this yesterday. So this is brand new. This woman is brand new to me. And I was busy looking up FMLA last night. Because you're making $250,000 a year. Because when you're making $250,000 a year, I don't know. I've never made $250,000 a year. However, if I did, I guess there would probably be certain things that I'd be willing to deal with for a job. Otherwise, some stupid comments that I liked. 825.3. 825.3. This whole thing is like 30 pages long. 825.2. There's the equivalent position. So with the equivalent position that we were talking about, an equivalent position is one that's virtually identical to the employee's former position in terms of pay, benefits, and working conditions, including privileges. Prerequisites and status must involve the same or substantially similar duties and must entail substantially equivalent skill, effort, responsibility, and authority. So it's 825.3. All right, eligibility notice. So 825.3, general notice. Every employer covered by the FMLA is required to keep posted on its premises in conspicuous places where employees are employed, a notice explaining the Act's provisions and providing information concerning the procedures for filing complaints and violations of the Act with the Wage and Hour Division. The notice must be posted prominently where it can be readily seen by employees and applicants for employment. The poster and the text must be large enough to be easily read and contain full legible text. Electronic posting is sufficient to meet this posting requirement as long as it otherwise meets the requirements to this section. An employer that willfully violates the posting requirement may be assessed a civil money penalty by the Wage and Hour Division not to exceed $216 for each separate offense. So it's here's where what's interesting to me though, So she told them in January of 2025 that she needed FMLA because she was pregnant. She gave birth on March 31st. So you told them 2 months? January 2025. So you gave them 3 months notice? Which means you didn't tell anybody that you were pregnant for 6 months? Something about that just seems hinky to me. Something about that just seems hinky to me. Plaintiff informed her supervisor that it was a difficult experience and that her baby required to stay in the NICU, notwithstanding shortly thereafter and throughout April of 2025, with full knowledge that plaintiff was on leave to care for herself and her newborn. Plaintiff was asked by her supervisor to work on MrBeast's upcoming Naruto collection product launch, whatever that is. Plaintiff worked on this product launch continuously during the month of April. That is illegal. But there is a difference between them forcing you to work and you actually just saying, I'm gonna work because I'm bored, or I'm tired, or I feel like I need to catch up on things, or all of that stuff. So shush. Why does this keep doing this? This is weird. Weird. So it's a big thing of, were you actually on leave or were you still working? On April 24th of 2025, plaintiff was asked by her supervisor to manage an expedition booth at a town hall, which required long periods of standing physical work and required her to be away from her newborn for approximately 10 hours, 3 weeks after giving birth. May of 2025, producer for MrBeast contacted plaintiff to work on a video production that involved a professional soccer player to be shot in Brazil. The work required plaintiff to participate in numerous calls with his team and the Brazilian consulate. MrBeast suffered and permitted plaintiff to travel to Brazil to work with the Niemeyer video shoot. Why were you why? See, and this is, were you forced to do this, or did you say, yeah, I will do that? So if there was a fear of loss of employment due to pregnancy, I can see why a person waits to say something. Another thing I experienced, as soon as they called me once, I would be on the phone with a lawyer and being like, they're pressuring me to work when I'm on FMLA. Here is my FMLA paperwork. I just had a baby. Here is my FMLA paperwork. We need to fix this. No matter how much pressure that they're providing, no. So without a newborn, could she have done these things? If she was not on FMLA, you're not supposed to work when you're on FMLA. Like, they don't even like you to show up when you're on FMLA. I showed up at the hospital when I was on FMLA to have one of my coworkers do something to my shoulder, put some tape on it for me. And they were like so scared that I was going to do something and get them in trouble. So it's MrBeast failed to provide plaintiff with required information that would inform her of her rights under FMLA. The only way that upper portion can be true is if she had absolutely no idea what FMLA was. And if you have absolutely no idea what FMLA is, and you have never Googled FMLA, which if you know you're going to be taking FMLA and your company has provided you with nothing, I would either be Googling it first, calling a lawyer to help me. If I made $120,000 a year, I would definitely be calling a lawyer. Like, hey, Island. It's 12 weeks after you have a baby. It's generally 12 weeks unpaid after a baby. That's FMLA for postpartum. But like my FMLA was not 12 weeks. My FMLA was 6 because that's how much my doctor authorized me to take off. So it for pregnancy, it's generally automatically 12 weeks. So it's unpaid if you don't have like PTO, but it's 12 weeks for pregnancy. So, and because this was pregnancy, it's 12 weeks. Oh no, got a message. Who's messaging me? Oh no. MrBeast required plaintiff to perform substantial and continuous work over approximately 8-week period. During this time, plaintiff was in pain, healing from a complex birth, not sleeping at night, and ended up working for MrBeast during the day. Plaintiff feared retaliation by MrBeast and other negative consequences on her employment if she refused to work during her FMLA leave. Indeed, plaintiff was on a work conference call while in the labor and delivery room. For some reason, this one, I don't know. As a boss, I would sit down with any employee that was pregnant. We would discuss their plans, their rights, and any paperwork they may need. It solves a lot of problems. That seems like a good thing to do, and kind of a common sense thing to do, in my opinion. It just to have everything out in the open and know what is legally available, and that way everybody's on the same page. Nobody gets too happy. It just this is just weird to me, and the way she's describing the structure of the company for 500 employees, and you're still an LLC with 500 employees or multiple LLCs. It just seemed the structure of this company as a billionaire just seems really weird to me. Like I said, just to, yeah. Don't believe that during labor, please. Yeah, the only thing is like I didn't feel contractions even though I was in labor for like 6 hours. So 7 hours. So I was having contractions. I just didn't feel them. So I was perfectly capable. I drove myself to the freaking hospital an hour away from my house. Because I'm type A and I wanted to drive. Mr. Squid wasn't home. He was working out of town at the time, so he couldn't. But my mom was with me and she was in the passenger seat. I wouldn't let her drive my car because I'm just type A. I said, if I am in too much pain, I will pull over and you can drive. Never had a problem. Didn't feel contractions until about 4 hours after I was in the hospital. So, I was like, what's the contraction supposed to be like? And I know why it's doing it. When this computer starts to go to sleep, this computer is affected. Weird. But okay. Plaintiff feared retaliation. In its handbook, How to Succeed in MrBeast Production, MrBeast informs employees they're expected to get the job done at any personal cost. No excuse is acceptable. It tells employees the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. I think it's a nerve issue. I just couldn't feel it until I did. Hello. Hey, Denise, how are you? I couldn't feel it until I did. And then when I did, it was like, holy crap, holy crap. It tells its employees the amount of hours you work is irrelevant. We pivot a lot. Be ready to have everything flipped on its head in a moment's notice. Work with intensity. Push outwards, not inwards. Especially plausible for a pregnant woman. Pull all-nighters. Plaintiff received the handbook, which employees refer to as the Beast Bible, when she was hired. She knew if she did not continue to grind and get work done as asked by MrBeast managers, as expected by MrBeast, she would not have a job to return to after her leave. This caused plaintiff to lose bonding time with her newborn and caused additional mental and physical health decline. Because of work she was required to perform during her FMLA approved leave, plaintiff used vacation time she had not planned to use during her time off. That's just weird to me. Like, something's not adding up, and I cannot wait to see the response to this, uh, because there's just something that's not adding up. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Less than 3 weeks after plaintiff's full-time return to work following FMLA and pregnancy-related leave, MrBeast terminated plaintiff's employment. On November 6th, plaintiff was informed by her managing supervisor and HR that position she held with MrBeast was being eliminated. Plaintiff was told that she was too high caliber for the social media manager and merchandise role that MrBeast had demoted and transferred her to after she complained about smexy time harassment and hostile work environment. Ooh, reading is hard. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Plaintiff's termination was not because she was not qualified or was not meeting the expectations for her position. She was not offered another position at MrBeast and instead was offered a severance agreement with the release of her employment and claims and confidentiality provisions. Plaintiff declined the severance agreement despite MrBeast's attempt to leverage medical coverage for her newborn to coerce plaintiff into signing. Notified MrBeast on November 18th that she believed her termination was unlawful. Upon information and belief, MrBeast hired a male to perform the duties previously held by plaintiff as social media manager. Impact on mental health. Plaintiff suffered severe emotional distress as a result of MrBeast's actions. Was diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety during her employment. The cause or proximate cause of her depression and anxiety were the unlawful, discriminatory, or retaliatory actions of MrBeast. Could you connect the two? Plausibly, but you're going to need some strong medical evidence for that one. Intentional infliction of emotional distress I have seen is a very, very hard. It's almost like medical malpractice in the fact that, like, you can claim it, but it's very hard to prove. Very hard to prove. Like, because of MrBeast's conduct and the adverse employment actions it has taken against her, plaintiff has suffered mental anguish, humiliation, embarrassment, unaliving, self-deletion and ideation, loss of enjoyment of life, and damage to her emotional and psychological well-being. She suffered episodes of anxiety and depression and has required ongoing psychiatric treatment and medication due to the harm caused by MrBeast. I'm wondering if she had depression and anxiety before this and it just got worse. Because it does get worse with stress. And if you're in a stressful job where you're making $250,000, I mean, when you make that much money, it's got to be stressful, right? You know? MrBeast's termination of plaintiff was motivated by her vocal opposition to a hostile work environment, her sex, and her exercise of FMLA rights as a new mother. Hey, Stacy. The adverse actions taken against plaintiff by defendants as described in this complaint were willful and reckless disregard for her federally and state protected rights. The adverse actions taken against plaintiff by defendants as described in this complaint were extreme and outrageous. They were done maliciously, willfully, or wantonly in a manner that demonstrates a reckless disregard for plaintiff's sex and human rights. Well, she literally says during her employment, not during her FMLA. So during her employment could be 3 years. So, so counts of action, FMLA interference, March 31st, the date of her birth of her child. She was eligible employee. At all relevant times, defendants were employers, obviously. Defendants did not provide plaintiff with notice of her FMLA rights and responsibilities. Defendants did not provide plaintiff with the notice of her FMLA eligibility pursuant to 29 U.S. Code 825. Defendant did not provide plaintiff with notice of her FMLA designation. Her plaintiff provided advance notice to defendants that she would need leave for the birth of her child, an FMLA qualifying event. Plaintiff took leave from work for an FMLA qualifying reason beginning March 31st. Plaintiff was entitled and eligible for FMLA protection when she took leave from work for the birth of her child on March 31st, 2025. Defendants interfered with plaintiff rights under the FMLA in violation of 29 U.S. Code 2615 by suffering, permitting, and requiring plaintiff to work during her FMLA leave and terminating her in close proximity to the time she exercised her FMLA rights. This is where I have to dig deeper into the law. I literally have it up on this computer. However, it is very long. And I did not have the time to read it all last night. Because girl was tired. Like I'm tired. So it's not required to give her notice, but I think they are. Eligibility notice. 825B1, when an employee requests FMLA leave or when the employer acquires knowledge that an employee's leave may be for an FMLA qualifying reason, the employer must notify the employees of the employee's eligibility to take FMLA leave within 5 business days, absent extenuating circumstances. For definition of, employee eligibility, go to that. All FMLA absences for the same qualifying reason are considered a single leave, and employee eligibility that reasons for leave does not change during the applicable 12-month period. The eligibility notice must state whether the employee is eligible for FMLA leave as defined in a statute above or a section above. And it just says the time, the distance in which you live. Employers shall provide written notice detailing the specific expectations and obligations of the employee and explaining any consequences of failure to meet these obligations. The employer is obligated to translate this notice in any situation which is obligated to do so. The notice shall be provided to the employee each time the eligibility notice is provided pursuant to paragraph B of this section, which I read earlier. If leave has already begun, the notice should be mailed to the employer's address of record. So they do have to notify you. So they are required to give you notice. I just didn't read that part of the statute because at the time it wasn't relevant. So isn't 2 weeks notice or immediate termination in 2 weeks? I don't know. I have to look at when you return to work. It's right. This is like about 20 or 30 pages long. It's a website. So if I look at the generate PDF. So let's see how long this PDF. This PDF is 90 pages. So, yeah. So about 80, yeah, it's 90 pages. 90 pages. I generated the PDF of it. So there's that. Yeah, she does have a very strong case regarding the FMLA violations. Yeah. I just read the FMLA requirement section for employers. Employers only have to post the FMLA code on company's premises, not handed out individual workers, as the complaint states. Yeah, they have to post it online. However, in what we did read in subsections, oh come on, it's not certification, fail or employer notice. Employee notice requirements foreseeable FMLA leave. They have to notice within 30 days, at least 30 days in advance, or as soon as applicable. Designation, employer responsibilities. Employer's decision to designate leave as FMLA qualifying event must be based only on information received from the employee and the employee's spokesperson if the employee is incapacitated. In any circumstances where the employer does not have sufficient information about the reason an employee uses use of leave, the employer should inquire further of the employee or spokesperson to discern whether a potential FMA qualifying event. So, but there's also employee responsibilities that, but right here, employers shall provide written notice detailing specific expectations and obligations of the employee. Did you do one? Let's see. So they, employers have to contact their employees to show them or give them a, she could have FOMO and kept contacting them during her leave. That's a possibility too. It's a thing. FMLA is a yearly allowance, not a per occurrence. Well, there's also rules on that. It's per year, but there's different rules, or different employees or employers can do it different way. It could be 12 months in a calendar year. It could be 12 months fiscal year. It could be a rolling 12 months from when you started your, or when you last used FMLA. It could be from the anniversary date of when you started working there. It's 12 months, but it doesn't designate, it allows the employer to designate what those 12 months are. So, yeah. Yes, FMLA is not just for pregnancy. FMLA is for I took FMLA for my headaches. So you don't have to have FMLA is Family and Medical Leave Act. It's not a pregnancy leave. It's family and medical leave. That's why it's 90 pages, because it's not just pregnancy leave or postpartum leave. It's, but this is what I have to look for, the close proximity, because in a right to work state, yes, they can fire you for anything. However, there are certain rules, even in a right to work state, of what they can and cannot do. And firing you after you come back from FMLA, there has to be some guidelines somewhere, either in North Carolina's right to work law or this FMLA law, and I just haven't had the time to research it. So it's only been 48 hours since this complaint dropped. Defendant's conduct was willful. They should have known that the conduct was in reckless disregard or indifference as to whether it was in violation of FMLA. Defendants do not have a reasonable grounds for believing that their acts or omissions were in good faith or not in violation. FMLA retaliation. This should be interesting. All times, plaintiff was an eligible employee. And once again, as I always do, yes, we are reading the entire complaint, but because this is a 24-page complaint, we are skipping the stuff that is the same. All relevant times, defendant was an employee. We already know that. Defendants retaliated against plaintiff for exercising her FMLA rights by terminating her employment on November 6, 2025. Termination of plaintiff was an adverse employment action. The temporal proximity between plaintiff's return from FMLA related leave and her termination establishes a causal connection between her exercise of FMLA rights and the adverse action. And as we know, this is what you need. I think it's Iqbal v. Was it Ashcroft, Twombly v. Ashcroft, or Ashcroft v. Iqbal? Ashcroft v. Iqbal and Twombly. Those two. This is what you need, that causal connection. So in the facts, it didn't, but in her, this part it did. In her count, it did. It said, defendants did not provide plaintiff with notice of her designation, which they did not provide plaintiff with notice of her FMA eligibility. When she told them that she was pregnant, they never told her this. Defendants did not provide plaintiff with notice of her FMLA. I believe she is talking about 825.3C. 825.3C. Employers shall provide written notice detailing the specific expectations and obligations of the employee and explaining any consequences for failure of these obligations. The employer is obligated to translate this notice in any situation which is obligated to do so. In A4, the notice shall be provided to the employee each time the eligibility notice is provided pursuant to paragraph B. Paragraph B. Eligibility notice. When an employee requests FMLA or when the employer acquires knowledge that an employee's leave may be for an FMLA qualifying reason, the employer must notify the employee of the employee's eligibility to take FMLA. So in this, if I am understanding this correctly, this was after she told them she was pregnant. They did not provide her with notice of her FMLA rights. Not it's posted on our website or it's posted on company grounds. Not that notice. The specific notice in 25C and 25B of she told them, and after she tells them of her pregnancy, they are supposed to do certain things when it comes to FMLA of informing her of her rights and responsibilities in regards to, hey, you're eligible for FMLA. So, yes. Thank you, K-Bird. When an employee asks for leave, the employer must give the employee their FMLA rights and responsibilities. They did not do this according to plaintiff. Yes. It's not the initial, like I'm literally looking at 25.3B and 25.3C. It is not it must be posted somewhere where all employees can read it. That is not what we're talking about. We are talking about after she tells them that she is pregnant. And they have a certain amount of time to contact her and provide her with her rights and responsibilities and eligibility notice. That's what they did not do. According to her. This is all according to her. And I understand that y'all are questioning her. However, I am literally looking at the exact statute, and this is why we pull it up. This is why we have it, so I can read it word for word from you, so we can address questions and concerns like that. Defendants did not provide plaintiff with notice of FMLA designation pursuant to 825.3D, which is designation notice. The employer is responsible in all circumstances for designating leave as FMLA qualifying. So they didn't provide her with a designation. Plaintiff provided no, it's a no, it's a fine from the government to the company, not how it impacted her. So, and if you're going to sue for everything, you're going to add this with it because this is your smoking gun if this is true. So, that fine would be from the government to the company, not her. So they still could be in hot water with the government for not providing those notices. However, and that's not a fine. Posting, that's not okay. This is not a fine. The not posting it on the company's website or in an office where it's legible, that part that we read, y'all are getting confused between different aspects of the law. It's 90 pages. I get being confused between different parts, but it not being posted and that fine of $216 a day has nothing to do with this, what's written on this screen right now. Two different things. No, that's if they gave her leave, it's just a matter of a small fine. That's not, those are two different things. That $216 was not being posted on the company's website or somewhere where the company employees can find it. That was completely different. So it's plaintiff took leave for an FMLA qualifying event beginning March 31st. We know that. She was entitled and eligible for FMLA protection when she took leave. Defendants interfered with plaintiff's rights under FMLA in violation of 29 U.S. Code 2615 by suffering, permitting, and/or requiring plaintiff to work during her leave. This is where I question, because I'm sorry, if someone asked me to leave or work during my leave with my baby, it doesn't matter if they're pressuring me or not. If they wanted to, this is just my personality though. If they tried to pressure me from spending time and bonding with my baby, I would have headed straight to a lawyer, like Mr. Squid did. But that's a whole another story. That's another story for another time that I can't talk about. So, I've always seen the posting in a break room. Beast needs to pay her off and hope it ends there. Yeah. I don't know. And that's another thing that it's like, she did say that she contacted the EEOC. So she might have been trying to do certain things before and then got fired. So we don't know what happened between the time she came back and the time that she got fired. That's where I think you need more detail in things, because she might have been trying to do stuff, or she might have just been back to the status quo. We don't know. And to assume one way or the other is just a shitty situation. And I'm not perfect with it, but I try not to do that. I try my best not to do that. I try my best not to do that. So we don't know what happened between the time she returned to work and the time she was fired. It was her responsibility to know the rules. Yes and no, because it's her responsibility to know the rules, yes, but it's also her employer's responsibility to, according to the actual law, the employer has responsibilities too. And if she met her part of the responsibilities, it doesn't matter how much we like her or we don't like her, or we think that she was just being an uber feminist in a misogynistic work environment. If she held up her end of the bargain with what she had to do with FMLA and the employer did not, that's a problem. Doesn't matter if I like her or not. That's a problem. That's a problem. So, mm, I didn't honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't know a lot about FMLA until my employer told me when I kept calling in sick because I was sick all the time. And my boss was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about trying to get FMLA for this? Because I think that your condition is eligible for FMLA and you should look into that. Here's the information you need." So you can know about it and not actually know about it at the exact same time. It's yeah. There's other stuff that I have to yeah, right here. Federal law says it's the employer's responsibility to inform employees of their FMLA rights. That's the problem. It doesn't matter if I like someone or I don't, or I think the other part of their complaint is legit, or I think they're just easily offended. Um, it's a employer, according to the actual law, which I am looking at right now, ecfr.gov. It's current / Title 29, Subtitle B, Chapter V, Chapter 5, Subchapter C, Part 825. That right there says that the employer is responsible. So I love you guys, but at the same damn time, it doesn't matter what the fuck you think the employee should know. It is not the employee's responsibility to know. It is their employer's responsibility to tell them. So I love you guys, but I'm gonna tell you like it is. And that's why we keep it real here. K-Bird is right. K-Bird's right in this situation because it literally says right here, when an employee requests FMLA or when the employer acquires knowledge that an employee's leave may be for an FMLA qualifying reason, the employer must notify the employee of the employee's eligibility within 5 business days, absent extenuating circumstances. So it doesn't matter what we think of her. It doesn't matter what we think of all the rest of her complaints. If they did not do this, and they legally have to by FMLA, it doesn't matter what the fuck we think of her. It doesn't matter if any of her rest of her claims hold water. This one does. If that is true, because it does not matter what the employee knows. The employee could have all the information about FMLA that he or she could ever need. It is still the employer's right or employer's responsibility to notify their employee of these things by federal law. So I love you guys. Y'all are great. We're going to have to agree to disagree on this one because I am reading straight from the law. So if y'all don't believe me or y'all have a problem with it, talk to the government because that's not my problem. Yeah, North Carolina is a right to work state too. So it may not be wrongful termination. However, forcing her to work during FMLA, she better have receipts for that. However, even if she worked voluntarily, as an employer, they should be like, no, you're on FMLA, like mine did. My employer, my boss was like, you got to get out as soon as possible. Because if you are here and there's any chance that it looks like you are working, we could get in trouble. So we're just not going to have you here so that you cannot get in trouble. So, if you are being threatened with being fired, maybe. So I will be very interested to see receipts. Snipe Hunter, I usually like you, but right now it's like you came to a conclusion without seeing the evidence. So you came to a conclusion without seeing the evidence. So we don't know. We don't know. We will have to wait for the rest of the reply and rebuttal to this, but also the evidence, because who knows? This could be 100% accurate. We don't know yet. This is an initial complaint. You have to take, and that's why we say it's allegedly, because it has not been proven. But we have not seen any evidence to the contrary either. So you have to take it of trust but verify. So we are taking it as, if this is true, this is really bad. However, we can't say that she is lying either. You cannot go into it with the someone is lying. You don't go into it with everybody's telling the truth just because they say it in a legal document. But you also can't go into it with she's lying just because she's a woman and she's suing a man. So you can't look at it from either way, and that's where people get biased, because you go into it having an opinion before you've seen any evidence at all. Right now, we don't have any evidence to either side, and that brings a larger problem with situations where people see something and they automatically believe it, or they see something and they automatically don't believe it without seeing any evidence either way. And that's why I like receipts here, because receipts are evidence. So right now, it could be plausible. It sounds logical based on MrBeast's content. But let's wait for evidence. So we have not, and that is another thing. People trying to put the cart before the horse. Let's see the evidence. Let's see the evidence. We are not there yet. That will not be for months because we are not there. So, yes, the court has to accept the complaints as true. So we still need to see Beast's side. Yes, you are getting ahead of yourself. You are forming opinions without seeing any evidence either way. So just like the court, we have to take these as factually true until we see evidence. But just because we have to take them as factually true doesn't necessarily mean we believe her. It just, yes, they could be plausible. So this is what the problem is with society, is we form opinions before we've seen any evidence. And there are certain people in this world that even when you do show them evidence, they are so strongly rooted in their, like, I read the statute out to you guys and you still told me I was wrong. You still tried to tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about. And you still tried to tell me opinions and information to the contrary when I was literally reading the damn statute right in front of y'all. I have another computer right here. I was literally reading the fucking statute. And y'all wanted to tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about. You didn't say that, but you kept telling me other things when I was literally reading the damn statute. So, like, I was literally giving you evidence to the contrary of what you were trying to tell me, and you wouldn't believe it. So, excuse me if I'm not going to automatically not believe someone when I have not seen any evidence. Because that is how we get so in our own minds that we can't believe evidence when it's presented straight to us. And you see it every day on social media and in the media. When people have an opinion, they hate someone or they like someone so damn much that you present them evidence of how that person was lying or that person was telling the truth, and they can't see past the end of their own nose because they're so deep in their own opinions. So we have to wait until we have evidence. Defendants do not have reasonable grounds for believing that their acts or omissions were in good faith. I read this already. I went back. Termination of employment was an adverse employment action. The proximity establishes a causal connection. It does, and this is why timing is everything. The close temporal proximity between plaintiff's exercise of her rights under the FMLA and her termination gives rise to an inference of retaliation. And that right there is a problem. Whether it was retaliation or not, the inference of retaliation is bad. You gotta do what you gotta do. Defendant's reason for terminating plaintiff was pretextual. Defendant's retaliatory conduct was willful because defendants knew or should have known that conduct was done with reckless disregard. So count 3 is an intentional infliction of emotional distress. This one's super hard to prove no matter what state you're in. Defendants engaged in extreme and outrageous conduct when demoting and transferring plaintiff after she complained about harassment and hostile work environment. Extreme and outrageous conduct requiring plaintiff, and extreme and outrageous conduct, if I'm remembering this in this statute right, and most statutes in the state in different states are closely related. They're not word for word the same, but they generally have, and I think it was Florida's that I read. And Florida's, I think, uses the terms extreme and outrageous. So it was almost like her lawyer literally had the statute up as they were writing this, which, if that's the case, I can appreciate. When requiring plaintiffs to work during her maternity leave and terminating plaintiff's employment less than 3 weeks after she returned from FMLA. Defendant's conduct was proximate cause of plaintiff's severe emotional distress and mental health issues. If that is hard to prove, that will require medical records. That is, yeah. Defendants intentionally caused severe emotional distress to plaintiffs. Alternatively, defendants acted with reckless indifference to the probability that conduct would cause plaintiffs severe emotional distress. Defendants knew their conduct would cause emotional harm. Defendant's extreme and outrageous conduct, plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer. This is like copy and pasted from Eddie, one who puts who has an intentional infliction of emotional distress claim. What happened? Hold on, what happened? She was playing a little too hard with Daddy. She's fine. She was playing a little too hard with Daddy, and she punched his kneecap. So she hit his kneecap just in that right spot where like your whole hand goes numb. She freaked out. Whenever something happens with him, she runs to me like he's the problem. Whenever something happens with me, she runs to him like I'm the problem. Like, fix that. So, you know. And Stacy, thanks for being a member for 4 months. Has it really been that long? Appreciate your common sense and coverage. Thank you. I just try to use the common sense and logic, because when we get overly emotional and stuff, things get weird. It's already weird enough in here.
Mommy.
She did not take the settlement.
Mommy.
Mommy,
it's that
She did not. She did not take the severance package. No, you're not using my blush.
Please.
No.
Please.
No, you can have this though. Here, you can have that.
No, I need this.
We're gonna. Here. There you go.
Try.
You try. Okay. Thank you. Little.
I don't.
Oh, thank you. Here, you can have this one.
Oh.
You can have that one.
No, I
All right. You don't like it? Well, fine. I'll take it. Crazy girl. Time flies when you're having fun. Or not. All right. Count 4. Wrongful discharge. Defendants employed at least 15 employees at all relevant times. Hey, Captain Danny, you're a member for 5 months? Excellent. North Carolina recognizes public policy exception to the at-will employment doctrine. Here we go. That prohibits employers from terminating employees for reasons that violate clearly established public policy. North Carolina clearly established public policy against discrimination based on sex is reflected in North Carolina equal employment practices, and that's what she went to the EEOC for. As North Carolina, and she didn't take the severance, she didn't take a settlement, she didn't take anything. She didn't take anything yet. There's always time. North Carolina has a clearly established public policy against retaliation for opposing discriminatory employment practices. Plaintiff was terminated for reasons that directly violate North Carolina's clearly established policies. I really hope she has receipts, because that would be really embarrassing to file this lawsuit and not have receipts. I mean, that would be Amber Heard level of crap. Defendant's termination was motivated by her opposition to discrimination based on her sex and discrimination because of her sex. Defendants violated public policy of North Carolina by terminating plaintiff for unlawful and discriminatory reasons, including her sex. We shall see. Plaintiff suffered loss of income. Defendant's actions were malicious. As a result, she wants punitive damages. So, yeah. So, there we go. And of course, this is where it gets a little, it would have been, to me, okay, and I know this is gender-based. This would have been better, in my opinion, if she had a male lawyer. I know that you're not supposed to look at stuff like that, but to me, I just feel like this would have been better off if she had a male lawyer for reasons that are probably blatantly obvious on the tip of the iceberg. So she does have one special appearance forthcoming. She will have a James Vagnini, what a name, a New York lawyer, and Lauren B. Donnell, which could be a guy or a girl, I'm not sure. So right now, the only notice of appearance is Rebecca Mayer, but she will have a male lawyer. And a New York male lawyer at that. But obviously he's got to be admitted pro hoc vice and all that fun stuff. So, final thoughts. So, final thoughts. We are done with this document. Thank goodness. There's a lot to unpack in that document. There is, taken on its face, it's a touche. Taken on its face, it is a lot. It could be plausible. I will be keeping an eye on whether MrBeast's companies are served, when they're served, and when the reply comes in, because obviously they have to be served first in order to form the reply. Why are you apologizing for providing my channel with engagement? Please don't apologize for that. Please, please, please. Please, please, please. Yes, but he's not her lawyer yet. He still has to be admitted pro hoc vice. So as of now, she only has a female lawyer. So a female lawyer wrote that. I feel like that initial complaint would have been better written by a male. I'm just just from an optics standpoint, I know it sounds bad, but tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm glad that she does have a male lawyer, but I'm glad that no, Snipe Hunter, just in general. I'm glad that she does have a male lawyer on the docket. He's not there yet. Still, like I said, still has to be admitted pro hoc vice. With that being said, I think certain things when it comes to gender issues sometimes are much better when they come from a man. I'm just saying. Thank you to the one person who disliked this stream. I appreciate you. You still know that helps me with the algorithm, right? Just saying. But thanks to everybody who hung out with me for this. I am going to redirect over to come on. There we go. Nick Staro's Slightly Buzzed show that starts in 15 minutes, and I will be over there with him. So I have us redirecting over there. Tell him I said hi. I'm going to go get something to eat because I have not eaten since breakfast. I'm also going to get a sweater because I'm actually stopped sweating and I'm cold now. Can you FaceTime a little? Yeah, of course. And rebranded story. Thanks for being a member for 11 months. We're almost at our member anniversary. Great stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I will remember, we will keep an eye on this. There's lots to come. But this is just an initial complaint. We trust but verify. The court has to take this as true on its face. However, there is lots of receipts that need to be handled. So we don't automatically go, it's not true. We don't automatically go, it's true. We stay somewhere in the middle and go, well, it sounds plausible, but see receipts. But remember, discovery and all the receipts and all of that is not for months to come. Oh, great job bringing the law. Thanks for hearing after Freeman Remember for 6 months. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, I have it up. I did not, my computer was not even turned, this computer was not even turned on until about 2 minutes before I hit go live. So I was not able to get the law up on here so y'all could see it, but I was literally reading it straight from my other computer. Since I've gotten this computer, I have gotten so much work done, but it's also, I got work done out there in my kitchen, in my living room. So when I write stuff down on here, I forget that the tabs aren't actually open on this computer and get weird. It gets weird. My brain is like, oh, you have that tab open. No, you have that tab open on your laptop, lady, not your desktop. So with that being said, I have us redirect and over to Nick. Y'all tell him I said hi. I will see you guys in a little bit. And y'all have a great night. Have the day y'all deserve. Bye, guys.